Jeremy Freeland with the Alabama Barbecue Supply and Pro Shop. Jeremy, I see you've got some, hold that up. Let me see what you've got there. I think you've got some Malcolm Reed
Texas brisket rub.
Yeah, what else you got there? Hold that up for everybody.
Steak rub.
Now tell me, what makes you decide and choose the rubs that you've chosen here at the Allison's Barbecue Supply and Pro Shop?
Well, I've watched him. I've seen his style. I like the way he cooks. I've tasted different rubs. I didn't have these, so I decided to just go with it.
So, obviously you're talking about Malcolm Reed from Killer Hogs. Now you're trying your first brisket, right?
Yes.
Are you nervous?
I'm very nervous.
Are you very nervous? But now you showed me a flat that you did and sent me a video, and you knocked that one out of the park. Were you excited when that one came off the Green Mountain Grill?
Oh, absolutely. The Green Mountain Grill is great. First pellet grill, I did a lot of research. If I buy anything, I do a lot of research. So I got that. We're happy with it. And that brisket came out amazing. I jumped up and down.
Now you said you had a lot of family members coming over for this brisket. After you master this brisket, what's next, Jeremy?
Well, I like to do tri-tip. I like the brisket. I do a lot of pork shoulders. I think I'm going to start trying to go into a little bit of seafood for my wife. She really likes it.
And when are you going to come back and buy all the rubs and sauces for all those proteins?
Alabama Barbecue Pro Shop.
Jeremy Freeland, thank you so much. Not a baby, Jeremy Freeland. Where are you going to buy your next rubs? At the Alabama Barbecue Supply and Pro Shop. Welcome, everybody, to the Thursday night show, the Owl's Nest Barbecue Show. Hey, we're brought to you by the Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply and Pro Shop in Ooltewah, Tennessee. We're brought to you by Green Mountain Grills, the Davy Crockett, the Daniel Boone, and the Jim Bowie. Historical, manly quality. Take it home. You just add heat and meat. And there you go. We're brought to you by the Midnight Oil Service Station in Ooltewah. Service still with a smile, the old-fashioned way. And by the complete line of Michelin tires for your car, truck, and SUV. Michelin tires make great Christmas presents. They do. You come into the gas station, you say, I want to give my son or daughter or wife, husband, uncle, aunt a set of Michelins. We give you a gift certificate. You give it to them, put it in their stocking, and they come in and get their tires next week. It's great. Broadcast partner tonight is Backyard Barbecue Smokers on Facebook. As always, join the legions of the informed barbecue army. Follow the Backyard Barbecue Smokers on Facebook. And as usual, Jeff Maxwell is back at his facility monitoring the chat. That's Jeff Maxwell of Smoking Goat Barbecue Team. He's monitoring the chat, so make sure you say hi to Jeff, and he'll say hello right back. Now, the big day is next Saturday. Mark it down. Be here. If you're within the sound of my voice, be here. If you're within reason, 50, 100 miles. November the 7th, 11 to 4, at the Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply and Pro Shop in Ooltewah. It's Smoking Barbecue Day. We'll have guest barbecue teams Robert and Lex Vanderripe of Smoke Be Silly Barbecue, Trey and Meg Terry, and the gang from Smoking Sweet Meats Barbecue is going to be with us. Sean Cosby of Choo Choo Barbecue will also be there for all you local people. We'll be having a brisket demonstration at 11:30. And the comedy of Ooltewah's own Big Ed Kaler at 1 o'clock. He'll be set up in the back garage doing a comedy show in a garage. First time it's ever been done for Big Ed. At 2 o'clock, we'll have the pork butt demonstration. And we'll wind up all the demonstrations at 3 when Sean Cosby of Choo Choo Barbecue cranks up the PK grill and shows you and I how to cook the perfect steak. So you'll want to be there, and you'll want to be there. So let's all meet up there at the ONB Supply and Pro Shop next Saturday. See our Facebook page for full details. Seriously, everybody come on out and see us. We'll have free barbecue, free beverages, and you know what that means. It'll be a big time. We'll all be had by all. And here's some other big show news. Now get ready. I have really loved being with everybody on Thursday nights. But as I've told some people, it's just time to move on. And by that, I mean we're moving on to Friday nights. Beginning next Friday, the Owl's Nest Barbecue Show moves to Friday nights when we will be premiering The Barbecue Show on Chattanooga's talk radio station, 102.3 WGOW. The first barbecue show on the airwaves here in the tri-state area ever. Plus, that show will be broadcast right here live on Facebook, so you won't miss anything. Plus, you'll get to see a real radio show as it goes on the air live. A lot of fun. So the Owl's Nest Barbecue Show will be getting bigger and better. Nothing would make me happier than all my faithful viewers here on Facebook. Follow me there on Friday nights at 7 o'clock. The show will have a faster format and will be mixed with live callers from the Chattanooga area and beyond. So that means that you listening, no matter where you're listening at, can call area code 423-267-1023, and you can get on the air in the show absolutely live during the show. Cost you absolutely nothing to do it. And we're hoping that that's going to add a lot of fun to the show. It all starts next Friday night, November the 6th, on Smokin' Barbecue Eve at 7 o'clock, same time, just 24 hours later. Just 24 hours later. So you can surprise your wife or husband when you've been making time to watch a show at 7 on Thursdays. You can say, honey, let's go out. I'm tired of watching Steve. Let's go out. And then Friday night, you can just tune me in. So see how it works? You can make it work for you. I'm making it work for me, and I'm making it work for you, and you can make it work for you. Next Friday night at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on Talk Radio, 102.3 WGOW right here in Chattanooga. And you can also listen to the show on WGOW.com on Friday nights. And call in, 423-267-1023. You can mark that number down and keep it handy for next Friday night. All right, let's get going. Enough with all the administrative stuff. Let's talk some barbecue. My favorite thing to do, and that's not the one I want. That's me standing in front of her now. Here's the one I want from Central Wisconsin. Our favorite master YouTuber and a guy who knows a whole lot about barbecue. A great cook, a great YouTuber, and a great guy. My buddy, Ricer. Jeff Rice from Dead Broke Barbecue. What's up, Ricer?
Not much, buddy. How you doing?
Doing great. Now, Steve Dotson was supposed to be with us, but Steve called in sick. He went to he's gone to a barbecue contest, and he called me. He texted me at 12:30 and said that the signal was good, and that he'd be able to be on the show. I said that's great. We're gonna get a live report from the last KCBS contest of the year. It's a double. It's in Withville, Virginia. All the big teams are going to be there. We're going to have a great right there on the spot report from Steve Dotson. And then he texted me back and said it was too windy and he wasn't going to be able to make it. So now in barbecue code, too windy means somebody has free beer and I want to drink it. So that's what Steve's doing right now. He's having free beer. So Mrs. Dotson, if you're home wondering about your husband and you happen to be tuning in, he's in Withville, Virginia drinking beer. So let's just throw him right under the bus, Jeff. Right off the bat. When you call in sick, you get thrown under the bus.
Right. And there's really zero excuse for him not to make the show. He can still drink beer and still talk. I mean, as long as he's under the probably 12-pack limit, he would be fine.
Well, we were going to talk about some holiday specials, but we could talk about Steve Dotson behind his back all evening long if you liked to.
Yeah, all evening.
That would be kind of fun. That'd be kind of fun. We could talk about that little funny little beard he's got.
Right. He's working hard at it, though. It's looking good, and it's starting to fill in for him. I trimmed mine down.
When he gets old enough to actually grow a beard, it'll be really good looking.
Right. Yeah.
When he reaches puberty, he can actually grow hair on his face. But no, we miss you, Steve. I know they're watching back there in the camp, and we wish you here. But Ricer and I will carry on, and we will do a fine job, and we will offer barbecue entertainment to the masses here on the Owl's Nest Barbecue Show. All right, Jeff,
I
let's
feel a
get.
lot of weight on my shoulders though right now, Steve. I mean, I
You,
feel,
well,
a little weight,
you're
so
carrying us. You're carrying the
yeah,
show.
right.
The last Thursday night show too, right here
Yeah.
until next
Wow, that's
Friday.
actually that
Yeah.
is incredible. I was the first guy on another one, and now I'm going to be the last guy
hmm
on a Thursday. So, there's just lots of firsts going on for
How
me
was
this
that
week.
reign from first to last?
I think it's probably a tie. I mean, we'll call it a tie.
You were really good. You were on Brother James's show. Was that last? When was that?
Last Tuesday,
Last
yeah,
Tuesday
last
night.
Tuesday evening I was on
Yes,
there. Yeah, with
and
James from Aim 'em and Claim 'em. Yep.
that's a great YouTube channel. He's got some pretty serious cooking skills, and
Hmm.
as evidenced by his YouTube videos. And plus, he's got that
Sure.
little talk show. And you know what I like best about his talk show? He doesn't clean up the kitchen. But it's like you guys, that's good enough, Mom. just,
Yeah,
just
yeah,
leave.
yeah,
No, I've got to go in the air. Leave it there. Just leave the
yeah.
milkshake in the blender.
Right. Real
Yeah,
life,
real life stuff.
and that's what James is. He's just a real life guy, and you see that in his videos too, that this is just real life James. So yeah, one heck of a nice fella.
Absolutely, we're going to get him on the show one of these days too. He's a good guy. All right, we're talking
Cool.
about holiday meats, and I didn't want to make it your typical holiday meat segment, Jeff, because I've been doing this a long time. You've been doing it a long time, and every year it's the same thing.
Hmm.
The turkey
Hmm.
videos hit the airwaves. The prime rib videos hit the airwaves. But
Right.
I didn't want to shortchange anybody who may be looking for information on how to do those things. But I wanted
Hmm.
to add to the menu, so to speak. And we tried to do
Sure.
that. We tried to do that last week, but the sound wasn't working. And I have it on good authority. Yeah,
That
the
they can
sound
hear
is
me.
working. Yeah,
Okay.
they
Good.
can
Good.
hear you. They can actually hear you and me.
Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah. Right. Both of
So
us. There you go.
and so that's the way it's supposed to work. It's a give and take show. So I want you to start out with your turkey recipe because I know you're a family guy. Wife,
Hmm.
2 children, extended family. I've seen your videos with your. Apparently, you've got a real close neighborhood that when you cook food, everybody comes over. Imagine that. And
Yeah. Right.
yeah, isn't that amazing how that
Hmm.
works? And same thing happens here. Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
can you help me? No, I'm busy. Can you come over and eat chicken wings? Hell yeah, I'll be right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you trim a tree for me real quick? My back is sore. Oh gosh. I gotta get the
Like
kids to
to,
basketball practice.
Steve,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I've got a bone in my leg. I've got to take care of. Right.
Yeah. Right.
So
Right.
so let's talk about some turkey action because I've done turkeys a million different ways and you have too. And I'm gonna let you go first and give me your best shot at the Thanksgiving and Christmas turkey.
Well, I mean, I'm going to typically always put mine on a pellet grill. I prefer a pellet smoked turkey over even the deep fried, and especially over just an oven baked turkey. Now, my grandma Bestel, if she was still around and kicking, she probably could make a good run at me with her turkey from the oven.
Hmm.
But my preferred is to throw it on the pellet grill and smoke it 300, 325, something like that. Um, I always brine my Thanksgiving turkey, but I do not always brine a turkey. Sometimes I just, throw some salt and pepper on it and let it rest for a day in the fridge and then go ahead and smoke it up. But for Thanksgiving, I always try to get a little tricky with some brines sometimes. I did a video where I found this, a buddy of mine gave me some Russian honey, and let's throw that in there. I think the uniqueness is a lot of times with brining is you get a different flavor profile. Now, typically for Thanksgiving, I always inject the breast with just butter, because I
Hmm.
really want, my family to think this is the best turkey they've ever had. And I always feel that when you inject the white meat, the breast on there with some butter, you get just this little extra robust flavor from it. But
Absolutely, you do.
sometimes my go-to when we're like my wife loves turkey, so I'll just smoke a turkey for her to have for the week. Do whatever she wants with it, and I'll use the bird booster from Butcher's Barbecue. That's one of my favorite poultry injections.
So you
Um,
do turkeys throughout the year I mean,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah, we
really?
do
Really?
actually. Yeah,
Wow.
my wife is a poultry person more
Mm-hmm.
than beef and
Yeah.
pork. So, I'm always cooking up some chicken breasts or, turkey breasts sometimes too for her because
Mm-hmm.
she just likes to make it in a salad or, you know, just have just hot turkey sandwiches with gravy,
Oh, I know.
and I think the smoke
They're
flavor
good.
when you get that,
They're
it's
good.
just so much better. I'm always sleepy, with that tryptophan in there, is always putting me to sleep, but I still enjoy turkey. And there's too many people I think sometimes are intimidated by cooking a bird on a pellet grill or a regular, stick burner or a barrel. Don't be, because it's actually pretty simple. Just watch that internal temperature on that breast. Try to pull it at about 160, let it rest for a while, and you're good to go.
Now,
But
tell me about your the mechanism that you'll use other than the pellet smoker. A little time and a little temperature, maybe.
you mean
How big a
my
bird you
method? My
cook?
method? Well,
Yeah,
I'm going to
yeah.
put it in there, and I do rotate it, and I also always either use some duck fat. Well, I mean, I put barbecue flavors on the outside of it
Mm-hmm.
for Thanksgiving. I just enjoy a good rub. But it's got to have some good, paprika in there just to give it that little reddish golden brown, let's
Mm-hmm.
say. And but it's typically 3 hours at 300, 325, depending on I don't do 20-pound birds in the pellet grill. It's 12 to 16, let's say, typically. And I rotate it. That's one thing I've always felt that in a pellet grill, especially on some of the box store models, you need to turn that a little bit because you don't have a really even cooking surface a lot of times in them,
Right.
unless you're using a smoke daddy or a Green Mountain Grill. I mean those ones that get some good PID controllers in there, it's a different story. You can have a deep, you don't might not have to rotate as much, but I always flip that bird 180 degrees just so it can kind of even a little bit, but the breast meat I always start on the cooler side because you're only cooking that to 165 degrees maximum. Because if you go over 165, you're going to end up dealing with a dry turkey. That's it. But in a pellet grill, you're dealing with sometimes with a little bit of rubbery skin. So to try to get rid of that, crisp it up a little bit, I always throw a little duck fat on it or canola oil or anything
Mm-hmm.
like that and try to give that a little coat to help that process, tighten it up. But I think the biggest success that I get typically from is in the prep part of it. After the brine, I let that sit in the fridge uncovered for a day at least a day, and let that skin start to dry up. Another trick that I've done before in the past, but I've had some oopsies when I've done this, is I've cranked up that pellet grill, 400, 320, 375, and it's carried over on me because I wasn't paying attention. But that will also help crisp it up. That last half an hour or so, if you can crank
Yeah.
it up 50 degrees, that'll help that skin. But that's how I do a turkey basically all the time for Thanksgiving.
That last point you made, Jeff, about when you crank up the grill. I was talking with a young man who was in the store today. We were talking different methods, and he was doing a brisket. And I was telling him that after you wrap the brisket, and we'll get back to
Hmm.
turkey in a second. I said after you wrap the brisket, you're not smoking anymore. You're basically just cooking. I said for all
Right.
intents and purposes, you can take it and put it in the oven. It doesn't matter. You're not
Exactly.
putting any smoke on it.
Yeah.
I said, and
Right.
I crank mine up when I cook at 285, and after I wrap, I crank that grill up to 210, 225, somewhere in there, because I want to get that thing
Hmm.
done. And
Right. Right.
I told him the exact same thing. Now, I said, low and slow leaves you lots of time to cover mistakes. I said, but when the higher you get, the window closes. And like you
Yeah.
said, you
Exactly.
get busy, it carries
Yeah.
over too quick, and all of a sudden, boom, you're looking at a bird that's 205, and you've overshot it 45 degrees. And you know what that's going
Yeah.
to mean. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
crap, this thing's going to be dry as the desert. And,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
now getting back to the turkey, I'm not a brine guy. I don't think,
Mm.
I just don't think brining does that much. I'm a dry brine guy, and I use just salt. I'll
Sure. Sure.
I just put the turkey in the refrigerator overnight, and
Hmm.
I'm like you. I don't want the 20 to 24 pound uh, stud hen that has been alive for 25 years and somehow,
Yeah, right.
somehow beat the bullet. I want the
Yeah.
young guy, the new guy to the turkey party. Like why is everybody
Right.
lining up? I want that guy,
Yeah, right.
and so I'll dry brine that thing in salt overnight, leaving it in the open air, and then
Hmm.
I'll come in the next day. And I am an injector guy, butcher barbecue, bird booster, all the way. I'll mix, sometimes I'll throw the kitchen sink in there with it. I'll do the bird booster. I'll do apple juice. I'll put a little Charmin, squeeze a little butter in there. Anything to get it moist and get good coverage on the inside of that bird. Something that'll spread out and get into the meat. And then
Sure.
I get under the skin with some butter and try to get that. And then I'm like you. I put that thing in the smoker. And the key to smoking a turkey is high temperatures for the lowest amount of time.
Hmm.
There's nothing worse than seeing, looking at the pictures and say, I smoked this turkey for 7 8 hours at 240 degrees, and isn't it beautiful? Well, it's not. It's
You're
black.
right.
It's not beautiful. It's ugly.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not appealing. It's not pleasurable. It's you're trying to sell me a pinto, in this
Right.
thing, and I'm looking for a T-bird, and you're trying to sell me the pinto, and I don't like it,
Right.
and so I want that skin golden brown. And you brought up a good point. Nothing better does that than duck fat on the back of that turkey,
Hmm. Yeah.
and I'll even go as far if I think it's even getting the least bit overdone, I'll grab the foil and I'll tint the top.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the best tools that you can use when you're trying to get a turkey, because half the battle at Thanksgiving and Christmas time is the presentation of the turkey.
Right.
Everybody looks at it because all the family's there, and you want to impress everybody with your skills. We work all year long, practicing our barbecue and stuff, and our neighbors come and they eat it. Our families come and they eat it with their hands, and it's just a mess. They're not,
Right.
you just, here's food, eat. But at Christmas time and Thanksgiving, everybody's dressed up a
Hmm.
little nicer. They put the Neanderthal ways in their back pocket, and let's be a little
Right.
sophisticated. You get that nice silverware out. You get that napkin that's made of cloth and not the paper towel, and
Hmm.
you put on the dog a little bit, and
Yeah.
and
Right.
I like that. I like that. So
I always, you know, I've been, there's times where, my wife is cooking something and I'm cooking something, obviously for Christmas or Thanksgiving or Easter. And you know how it is. It's busy in the house, something
hmm
happens, and things don't quite go right. Well, you know that I'm not thrilled when I bring a turkey out on the table and it's all sliced up. When it's all pulled apart, there's a reason why, because I'm pissed how it looked.
yeah,
So I mean, I'm gonna try to hide that. So,
yeah.
but it hasn't happened a lot because my wife usually takes care of all the side dishes, so I don't have to mess with that. And I'm doing the protein basically is what I'm always doing. So.
Yeah, and that helps to have a helper in the kitchen
Oh yeah,
who can do the
yeah,
mashed
yeah,
potatoes and the dressing and the stuffing. And we're not going to get into that argument, okay?
yeah.
That's
Right.
oh god, that wears me out. The most intimidated I feel when I'm doing the turkey, the centerpiece
Hmm.
of the meal, is at carving time, because everybody expects the person who cooked the bird to carve the bird,
Hmm.
and I don't. Do you know the proper way, Jeff? I don't. I've never cared enough to look into it, and I guess I should. And I do get out my good knives. I've got really good knives, and I can get those out.
Hmm.
And I just go right down, start at the back, and go right down each side, and get the
Right.
breast, and then, if some kid wants the legs, I'll give them the legs. Now I do one thing that people cannot believe, but I've always done it. I cut the wings off before I cook them.
Okay.
I just get rid of them, because it never failed before I started doing that. When you went to to pick the turkey for the biscuits the next morning and everything, the wings were still there. Nobody ever eats them. And how many times have you watched turkey videos where somebody is agonizing over the tips of the wings? You got to put foil. You got to spritz those wings. You don't want those wing tips to get dark. You're
Right.
spending all this time on 2 little things that you can't even eat because you don't want them to look funny. They're nasty. They're disgusting. They're not like chicken wings. Turkey wings do not taste as good as chicken wings.
No.
So I just bam, cut them off. When he goes in there,
mine under. I fold them under. And my boys will always go for the legs and the wings. They prefer the dark meat. And I would say that when I was a kid, I was the same way. But now I actually prefer a good, cooked to perfection, let's say, 163 to 165 degrees piece of white meat with a little bit of brown gravy on it, just a touch of, the turkey gravy on there, and it's good, I think that's the best.
Mashed potatoes or rice?
Probably mashed potatoes in my family. I mean, I do like rice with turkey, but we always have to have stuffing because I only get stuffing a couple times a year, so I have to have stuffing, even if it's not in the bird. Somebody's got to make it.
I can't eat it. It hurts my stomach. Isn't that weird? It does. I can't eat it. It kills me. If I eat it, I'm hungover for 2 days. I'm not kidding. It tears me up. It's awful because I do like it, but I can't. I've tried it all different ways. And
Really?
I definitely don't like it with oysters in it. I got. Where did that come from? Oysters in stuffing.
I don't know. It's like
I don't remember. I don't remember the Pilgrims sitting down with the Indians. Anybody got the oysters? Did somebody bring the oysters? Ain't no oysters there.
I think the only reason why that is maybe because it's very similar to the texture of like mushrooms, or because my grandma always threw a little bit of really sliced up fine mushrooms in her
use
in
mushrooms.
Her stuffing.
Use mushrooms instead of the oysters. Use mushrooms, and don't tell the people who are eating the food that there's no oysters in it, just in case they want to try it. And, then they try to say, there's oysters in there. You didn't even taste them, did you? No, I didn't. But throw up.
Yeah, because like like when my grandparents, they were old enough during depressions and stuff like that, so everything went into the stuffing. Anything didn't matter. So
that probably didn't hurt my stomach back in those days.
Yeah,
that's probably the real stuff.
Yeah.
But now all the processed bread and food and stuff they put in it now. All right, let's move on to prime rib. One of my favorites, one of your favorites, one of everybody's favorite is prime rib, and that is the one protein that I'll look at during the year and go, man, I wish, but I need too much other stuff, so I don't pull the trigger. But at Christmas time, I will pull the trigger, and I'm first of all, I'm a bone-in guy. And I don't think you are, though.
I was. I just look at the value now because I go to Costco like most people do to buy their prime rib, and I buy in prime. I'm not buying select or anything or choice. My big deal is I buy the boneless now because it just seems like for presentation, nobody really ever gave a crap. When you talk about foiling, I've always foiled French the bones out, foil them up, and make them look so pretty, and nobody really gave a crap. And I'm like, especially when they were eaten, they still left a bunch on the bone, and it's like, part of me kind of said, I'm just buying bone for these guys. So now we just do a boneless, and I truss it up and get it a little tighter, and that's my preferred way because and it might be because my boys eat a lot now. When they didn't eat a lot, well, maybe it wasn't so, but it's literally they eat a lot, and I get pissed. I get pissed when I'm like, Jesus, we don't have any leftovers, because I want some of that for the eggs in the morning, man.
These two young preteens are sitting on the couch watching the Britney Spears video on VH1, munching on the last rib.
Right.
I can see that on Thanksgiving Day. Yeah.
Yeah, they're 13 and 14 now, so they're growing, and they're hungry little guys, and I don't
They know where to
I'm
find the
not saying
Britney.
that.
They know where to find the Britney videos now too, don't they?
Right, yeah.
She's
All that
always on
stuff,
Thanksgiving. That's why I bring it up. For some reason, she shows Britney Spears shows up every Thanksgiving somewhere on the television. She's there.
So,
She's there dancing, wiggling it with a snake, and it's just hilarious. And I have to
right,
sit down and watch for 3 hours. I'm sorry. You know,
right.
sue
No.
me. All right, what's the ricer method on prime rib?
It's going to be an indirect reverse sear type of style, you know. I prefer to do it on my kettle. I mean, I've done it on the pellet grill before, but when I've done it on the pellet grill, I will use, I either start up a chimney, but it's cold here in the wintertime.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I've cheated and used my grill gun. Like I had a different style, but I have a grill gun and you zap that a little bit, give it a little, just a slight char on it when I'm doing it on the pellet grill. But when I'm doing it in the kettle, I bring it up to about 110, 12 degrees, and then I give it just a roast of a score sear
Yeah.
and just pound it to it. And I hit it hard, and it's usually pretty good. I mean, my family's pretty, I have family members that'll eat a rare steak. They're okay with it that way. So I typically try to pull mine off at my done temperature in the center. It's not above 125 degrees. I mean, I try to keep it right there because then I know I've got plenty of happy family members, because there's always a couple of them that do want a little bit more done, so they're getting the end pieces.
Yeah.
But I got more family that's fighting for that medium rare or less.
That's the neat thing about a prime rib. You can satisfy so many people's wants of doneness with that one piece of meat. And I tell you the way I do mine, and I've done it like this for the last 5 years. I hang it on the pit barrel.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it that way. I just hang that thing off the rod over those charcoals. The meat then drips down in there, and you can hear it psst, and comes right back up and flavors it. And I'll take mine. I usually take mine up to about 120 to 125 in the pit barrel. And it only takes, Jeff, I'm talking, it takes maybe an hour and 10 minutes, sometimes less than that, because that pit barrel you can get that thing roaring at about 285, 300 degrees easy.
I was gonna say sometimes 325 when I had mine.
And that cooks a prime rib really, really fast. And then
Right.
what I do with it, I'll crank up the gas grill just to have a hot surface. And when I pull it out, because it's got so much flavor already from the pit barrel, because nothing, I sit here and I'll tell people every day, nothing that small and usable. Now let's take out the Langs, the stick burners, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm talking about backyard, on the deck things. Nothing puts
Yep.
flavor on a piece of meat like a pit barrel. I mean,
Sure,
you
I
just
agree.
cannot duplicate it. It is the most flavorful thing you can cook on, I think. And then I'll put it on that. After I pull it off the pit barrel, I'll put it on that grill, and I'll get it up to about. I'm a 135, 136 guy. I'm good right in there, and the ends are about 145. That's livable for the ones that they're not. Nobody's gonna get a well done piece. Okay.
Yeah.
If you want a well done, here it is. Put it in the microwave. Knock yourself out. And we keep it simple. I like I like mashed potatoes with it, and I really like asparagus spears.
Yeah, me too.
With my for prime rib. I don't eat a lot of asparagus through the year, but for prime rib, I don't know what it is. I don't know. Somewhere along the line in my life, I don't remember, but there was a happy time, and I just know somebody gave me asparagus spears with prime rib, and it's buried somewhere deep in my subconscious. Maybe if I ever go to a psychiatrist, he or she'll be able to pull it out of me when that happy time in my life was, because I'd sure like to go back to that. when things make you happy, is asparagus spears and prime rib cooked on the pit barrel cooker. And go ahead.
Well, I was just going to add to that, because that's what my wife insists on at Christmas is asparagus. We have to have it because we love it grilled, and we'll throw it in a bag of some olive oil with some good rock salt and black pepper and let it, marinate for a while, and then you get them on that, on the grill. It's only a couple minutes and they're perfect.
Yeah.
Well, I don't like them rubbery. They got to have a little bit of snap in them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, asparagus and prime rib it's like husband and wife.
It goes together like peas and carrots.
Yeah, right.
All right, let's move on. Those are the two traditional ones. Now,
Mm-hmm.
last week you brought up one that nobody could hear that I knew you were going to bring up, and I even went on Wikipedia to look it up because I had never ever heard of this. And I
Right.
mentioned it to a few people at the gas station during the week last week. And I'm apparently the only person who's never heard of this food. Now tell me about it.
It's lutefisk, and that is a cod that's soaked in lye. And
I can hear
up
everybody
in
right
the,
now going, I can't believe you never heard of lutefisk, Steve. Well, you
yeah.
didn't either.
Well, I mean,
You didn't either. So, give me a break.
a lot of people haven't, but I mean, it's always a joke towards us Norwegians. There's a little bit of Norwegian blood in me. I'm a Viking, and it's basically boiled fish, and you put a bunch of butter on it. But that lye, it makes it into like a jello. So it's like jello fish. It's really weird texture. The
Now,
only way that I
what's the recipe, the method? You take a piece of cod and you boil it in water
Well, you buy it already. It's already we never it's already stored, packed in lye. Okay,
in
so then
lye.
you take it and you boil it.
The stuff they made soap out of, right?
Yeah,
Really?
exactly. Yeah, and then it goes through this boiling process, and it just turns into this like jello-y gelatin type of fish crap. And you put it on potatoes. That's the only way I can eat it was with some potatoes and salt and pepper. Now, I will say that when my grandpa was alive, because he was 100% Norwegian, we had that. It was a little part of the tradition. And my grandma made it, and it was okay. It was just part of his upbringing.
Mm-hmm.
But once Grandpa wasn't around, we didn't have to make that anymore. I mean, and I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I go to the lutefisk suppers that we have around this area once in a while in Gold Air, but I really go just because they got the good meatballs. We go there for the meatballs and gravy.
So the lutefisk it's not a standalone meal. You put it on. It's like jello.
No, it can be standalone, but the only way I can eat it is if I mix it in with my potatoes and add more butter and more salt and pepper.
So you
I
can't.
gotta
So you
kill it
basically.
down.
So you can't taste the lutefisk.
Well, I mean,
Lutefisk.
it's like rendered out cod is really the best way to explain it. So it's really jello-y, fatty, weird.
No,
You
I
get a
don't. I
little
don't.
bit
I
of,
don't eat seafood at all.
yeah,
What is cod a good? Is that a good fish to eat?
yeah. Well, it's a normal.
Normal.
It's like a haddock, and all those type of fish.
Okay.
I mean, just a ocean fish. I mean, I don't know, it's white fish
But it's
type of
edible.
thing.
I mean, you could go to a
Yeah, oh
restaurant
yeah.
and if
I mean,
cod was on the
you,
menu, you'd go, okay,
oh yeah, I'll have
okay.
cod. It's haddock is better, but whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's just fish, but it's not good. I mean, I don't even want to bash it that bad that it's not good because I've had some, that isn't bad, but nobody's standing there unless you're Norwegian. You eat it because you're Norwegian. If that's the best way to explain it, you eat it because you're Norwegian.
Mm-hmm.
And how it got popular over here, everybody came over on the boat and they just made it, but imagine, yeah, it's soaked in lye, and you boil it out. And the churches, our high school here in town has a big lutefisk supper, and people come from states. I mean, they don't come just from this state; they're coming from states away because they can't get it in their area. But I always say, well, they're only here to eat the meatballs because the meatballs are awesome.
I love meatballs. There's nothing about a meatball I don't like.
Right?
I love them. My non-traditional. I've only got one. My menu, my international menu is not that great. My menu's not that great. Mine is at holiday time is pierogies.
Mm.
I know you know what that is.
Mm-hmm.
My grandmother, my mom's mother, came to the United States from Poland. She's about this
Mm-hmm.
tall.
Yeah.
Her last name was I'll think of it in a minute. But her married name was Wilgaleski. That was my mother's maiden name.
Okay.
And I remember going to Pittsburgh when we were children living in Richmond. We would go by bus to Pittsburgh. Dad would put my mother, my little sister, and I on the Greyhound and say, "You guys go get them." And we'd drive we go all the way from Richmond to Pittsburgh, and he'd follow up in a plane later, and all the family would be there, and they all made. My grandmother made these huge platters of pierogies with ricotta cheese.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember her, I didn't eat them because I was so young, and I said, I'm not going to eat those things. But the adults mainly ate them. The kids ate, candy and stuff like that. But the adults would eat them. And these plates that they would make are just, each plate would have like 50 of these things on. And those guys, my mother had, I think, 6 or 7 older brothers. And when they were all alive, they were there. And their big old Polish hands would just grab 2 or 3 of those at a time. And she would the way she did it. I remember watching her make them, and I watched my mom make them, and I've made them. They're delicious. You flatten out, get the dough, and you cut it in a circle, and you put the ricotta cheese and potato, whatever you want in there. Fold it over and pinch it, and then we would boil them. But after that, we that wasn't the end. She fried hers in a pan of butter.
Yeah.
The most time I saw people down here, they boil them and that's it, and they don't fry them up in the pan. But to me, the fried in the pan that makes them excellent.
That makes them nice and crispier, and you get a little bit of that. Like my wife makes them that way too. So she doesn't just stop.
She makes your wife makes pierogies?
Yeah. It's close enough to be she's Ukrainian, so it's close enough. Their version is very similar. But they also put a little bit of meat in there sometimes too, So.
You're thinking about coming down here in February?
Maybe. We've got to see. We've got to see how this trip goes out.
She could make a couple dozen, put them in a bag, couldn't she?
Yeah, right. Drop them off.
Drop them off here in Ottawa. But I love pierogies, and every time I eat them, I think of Christmas time. So that's my non-traditional Christmas meal. It's probably not anybody else's. And it's not really a Christmas meal, but it's just a Christmas time meal that I remembered being a lot of fun, and I eat them. My mom makes them and brings them to me. They're great. And when I learned to make them, they're great. They're just fantastic. Good food.
We because my family was Irish, German, Norwegian, and Dane. We had multiple different little meals that were part of a tradition. Oyster stew was always a big thing. Lobster tails, this one's kind of hard to explain, but I think we talked about it last week, and it is interesting. Is the whole rib in pork belly?
Yeah, let's go over that because that was very interesting, and nobody heard you talk about it. So let's redo the bone in pork belly.
Yeah, my grandpa was a farmer, and he was from Norway. And obviously, being that he was from there, they did some of his traditional things. They basically would take the pork belly, but leave the whole, St. Louis cut, kind of a deal in there still. And you cooked it down. He did it. They didn't smoke it or anything like that. They cooked it in the oven. But the whole process was very similar how we smoke a pork belly to get that nice and crispy. So that outside was nice and crispy, and then you had bones in there. So it was different, but it was really good. But it wasn't barbecued or anything like that. Salt and pepper and some other flavor that I have to try to dig out of Grandma's chicken scratch recipes and try to figure out what other spices that she was doing in it. But it's kind of like a pork loinish type of flavor, but very, very good because of that pork belly.
Yeah.
That pork belly in there, that pork belly meat. It was really good, but it was always had to get that nice crispy outside on it. It's called reba. I know the Philippines. In the Philippines, they do that too, but theirs is a little different. But I think it's very similar. But it's something like reba.
Bone in pork belly. I would love to try that. I saw it when you mentioned it last time. I went on YouTube and looked it up. There was one guy doing it, and he was smoking it. It looked absolutely delicious. and
Yeah.
he was actually cutting it in a bone from like on ribs, and eating it off the bone, and it looked just great. I mean,
Well,
pork belly is
you, you
yeah.
got a bite like this on top of it, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah, on the
pork belly
rib.
is so good. It's just, and especially a lot of beginners, pork belly is never really on their radar for some reason,
Mhm.
and everybody, they're always racing to do a brisket. They always start with a chicken, and they do a couple chickens, and they get good at that, and they do a couple pork butts, and they're good at that. And somebody will say, "Oh, do a tri-tip." Oh, okay. And then all of a sudden they start talking brisket. Then they start watching those brisket videos,
Yeah.
and then they'll come
Yeah.
in, and we'll have a 20-minute conversation, fat upside or down, and
Right.
and they're always looking for that brisket. And I've told a couple of them, I said, "What about a pork belly?" "Well, I don't even know where you get it." "Well, you got to go back to the back of Publix and ask the guy. He'll get it for you. They're butchers. They've heard about it.
Yeah.
It's not a
No
secret.
idea.
It's not a
Or
secret.
go to Sam's Club in Costco.
I think
They
the
have
Costco.
that.
I don't go to Costco. It's too far. It's like 11 miles from me. Where
Yeah.
Sam's is only four or five.
Right.
So I'm always hit Sam's, and I'm too lazy to drive. See, Costco, you have to go through what we call here in Chattanooga the split. It's where
Okay.
75 comes up to Chattanooga. It goes left on the 24, then right 75, and it was designed in 1956, and it has never been touched. And now they're working on it now. It's like the big. Did you ever follow the Big Dig in Boston? Did you ever hear about that?
No.
Well,
No, I didn't.
that was an international cluster mess of
Okay.
cost overruns. And so we've got one of those going on at the split. So there's this invisible wall for all the people in Ooltewah. We never passed the split. And thank goodness Sam's is on this side of the split, or we'd all starve to death. But
Sure, you're
we can
right.
we can go to our little Publix grocery store and they'll order it for you. Once in a while
Yeah.
they'll have it. But if you've never done a pork belly, it's easy to do. You can make bacon. It's a simple process. Takes about a week, but it's I mean it's not
Awesome. It's done.
it's not a very expensive piece of meat. And boy, if you want to be the hit of the party, do those pork bellies and then square them up and make little cubes out of them, and bounce them around in some real sweet barbecue sauce, and then take them to the party with toothpicks.
Right.
And
People love them.
yeah, I mean, the wives will be throwing rocks at their husbands. Why can't you do this? Why can't you do
Right.
this? Because it's delicious. It's delicious. Now you had.
Why did you?
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, why did you just buy a bag of Doritos and salsa?
That's pretty good too, though.
Yeah. There's a time for it, right?
Yeah, it's not as good as pork belly, but Doritos pretty
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Especially those Cool Ranch.
Right.
The other one, I think it was Steve Dotson that had the crab legs, but I know you're a crab leg guy, so I want you to take over for Steve Dotson, who called in sick tonight, and who's probably on his fifth Budweiser by now.
Sure.
At the barbecue contest. Take us through smoked or crab legs on the grill, because there again, I don't eat seafood, and I wouldn't know. I don't know which end the eel, the crab legs come off of. So you take it
Well,
away.
I have to admit I've never done crab legs on the grill, but I would say it's not much different than doing lobster tails. You're gonna just want to get that to about 140-ish, 42 degrees or so, and then pull it off and let it rest. But we always used to just steam them. We just steam them, and that's how we cooked them back when I was a kid, when you could actually buy Alaskan king crab for a reasonable price. Now, I'd rather buy lobster tails because inside, I mean, I love crab. Don't get me wrong. I could eat crab legs nonstop, but in my area, $45 for a few ounces. You can get 3 lobster tails typically for what you can. There's meat in that, but there's still meat in the big. You get the big old, armlet on there, but
Okay, robots.
but I mean, they're not that hard to cook. Most seafood people are intimidated of that too, and it's like shrimp. I mean, shrimp on the grill, minute aside, minute and a half max, depending on what you're running, and you get some darn good,
Yeah,
eats there.
I've seen people do that, And I will admit, I will pick at a shrimp off of a grill occasionally. It's if there's enough of that what's that red sauce called?
The
Cocktail sauce. Yeah, if there's enough of that around, yeah, it's pretty good. Because you can grab it, you can grab a tail. It's like a little handle. It's real handy. Throw it in. And I don't like to get stuff on my fingers. It's kind of, I know it's weird. I don't eat a lot of ribs either. Go with the lobster tail, because that's something that I can get into a lobster tail every now and then. It's not my favorite, but I can, if it's done right and there's a lot of butter close by, I can live with a lobster tail. So walk me through it on the grill, because that's something I may try this Christmas.
Well, again, on these lobster tails, I go ahead and do them indirect first. Okay, I get them up to roughly, I want to say about 130-ish degrees, and then I'll go ahead and sear them. I always cut the back and then pull the meat out and kind of dome it up on top of the shell. I make a good, lemon and butter and herb type of mixture that I'm going to put on that and drizzle it on there as we're going. I always throw some type of, I really like the Mojo's rub from Sucklebuster. That goes really good on lobster tails. And I've used Uncle Steve's shake. He's got a gator shake that I put on there. It's got some citrusy flavor. I think lobster tails taste the best with a little, citrus pushed into them.
Jeff, do the shells themselves change color? Can you measure doneness by the color of the shell, or is it just
it's a good key, kind of like, okay, I'm starting to kind of turn this orangish pink color.
Yeah.
And once you start getting that, that's a good sign. But again, you can overcook them so easily. And you overcook a lobster, you're eating a rubber band.
Okay, so that's what it tastes like when you've gone past it.
Yeah, when you're really, So I always try to just get them spot on at 140 and pull them off, and they'll carry over to 145. Most fish is always 145 degrees, internal temp on it. So, but yeah, shrimp, I don't even really look at a temperature thing on them. It's as soon as that shell starts, going orange, we know that they're done. I'll temp one because I don't want to undercook them. But yeah, once they go to that, they start turning this like faint. You can see a little bit of orange on there. That's when I'll put them meat side down right on a scorching. I use my Sloan sear, and I got that pretty hot, and give them a little bit of extra char to them, and check them real quick, and they're done. There's a lot of fun flare-ups when you're playing with butter on top of there too. Get that butter going and get that sizzling. They're delicious. And then
do you use your grill grates when you cook this kind of stuff on the grill?
I have. Typically, though, I don't on lobster tails, because I'm not looking for the grill marks on them. I just want to get a little bit of extra. Just a little bit of extra char on them.
So when you sear them, you turn them. Apparently you turn them over and sear the meat part.
Yeah, sear the meat. Yeah, sear that meat to just give you a little bit of presentation, like you say.
I guess a griddle would be pretty good for that too. I guess, wouldn't it? Get a roll.
You could heat up a griddle. You could. I used to cut them, in half, and then make them like into a lobster ring, they call them. But I got away from that. I just think they look cooler with a big old glob of meat on top of the shell. I think that's the best way. So split the top. Watch out, because they got sharp little pointy things on the outsides. But I got a video out there. You have to check it out.
Is it on Dead Broke Barbecue?
It's on Dead Broke Barbecue. Yeah, good video. Some seafood videos get a lot of hits and others don't. And that one's got a few, but it's. The only thing is, when you're doing seafood and you're doing a cook video, lighting is very important. And it was a little dark for whatever reason that day, so they look darker than what they are, but they turned out freaking fantastic.
Well, you do a good job. And you always worry about the technical stuff way too much.
Yeah,
we don't. Well, we watch it for the content and the information, the things that you see, Jeff. We don't. Okay, I'll just tell you that we don't see it. We don't hear it.
Here's the key, though. I'll tell you the key to the lobster tail though, is when you take a couple, lemons and you take them, cut them in half, and put them in that on top of that, coal bed, and get those nice and hot and
Oh,
juicy. And then after you pull them off, you squeeze that, and that just sweetens up that lemon juice so
oh, I
much.
bet.
It's just
I like lemon.
awesome.
I
So
like lemon. Do you have a gas grill
yeah,
at your house?
no,
Don't have a gas grill.
I haven't. I haven't had a gas. Well, I should take this back. I had a gas grill. My wife bought it for me. I don't want to say it's almost 6 years ago.
Hmm.
Sat in the backyard. It had a really nice little combo next to it for grilling steaks. I used it all the time for grilling steaks. And I
Hmm.
gave it to my neighbor because I'm like, dude, I've never even hooked up a tank on this.
Hmm.
And you used it. So I really literally have not cooked. And I bought it. Well, I should say she bought it, but I said, yeah, that'll work. Um,
David Bosco doesn't have a gas grill either.
yeah,
He doesn't. I mean, I have one. I've got two. Matter of fact, I've got three.
yeah,
One at the gas station, two at the house. I use them all the time, just for
yeah.
after work, coming home for hamburgers and steaks. Because I
To
used
me,
to.
a pellet grill is just as easy to fire up as a gas grill.
It is.
And
It
to
is.
me, and to me, a charcoal with a chimney is just as easy to fire up as a gas grill. I mean, I know it takes longer, but my whole, let's say, standard procedure is when I know I'm going to cook something, I go out and grab a chimney, fill it up, get it lit, and I come in and get all the food prepped,
Hmm.
unless I have, doing some type of
Yeah.
reverse sear,
Different
steaks,
strokes.
and I start early with that.
Different strokes.
Yeah,
But we're all
but no,
trying to
I
get to.
mean,
Well, we're all trying to get to one thing, and
uh,
that's good food. And
happy food.
you
Yeah,
talked about your grandfather doing that pork belly in the
yeah,
stove, cooking a long time. Barbecue is a method. It's not a taste. It's not
right,
it's cooking
right.
food at a long time over a certain temperature. That's what barbecue is.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's you can do barbecue. I tell people you can barbecue in the crock pot.
yeah,
And the
yes, you
purist out
can.
there going, "You're stupid." No, no, you can't. I mean, just because you don't have a pellet cooker, or a charcoal, or a grill,
Right.
doesn't mean you can't make good food. You know,
It's really, it might taste better in a stick burner, compared to this or whatever.
we
But
think
you're
it
right,
tastes better, but not everybody thinks like that.
yeah, I mean, my grandpa, the Norwegian one, I mean, ketchup was spicy to him, so there was never
Oh,
really anything about salt and pepper on his food.
hmm.
Um, Now, my grandma, the German, oh, she could drink gasoline. She liked she was into the hot spicy stuff. So that's kind of where the hot spicy part of me came from.
Hmm.
But yeah, but she didn't have a smoker. They had a nice grill, charcoal grill, but they never had a smoker. They never smoked
Yeah.
any meat. Everything was done, on the grill, or it was done in the oven, and damn good food. And she made ribs. Now it was oven ribs,
Hmm.
but whatever, whatever. That's what she did.
All right, Dead Broke Barbecue, your YouTube channel, it grows.
Yeah,
It grows every month. If you have not looked it up, make sure you go to YouTube. Dead Broke Barbecue. Jeff's videos are some of the best out there, content and technical wise. He takes a lot of pride in what the product that he
that's right.
turns out, unlike some of us other ones that just throw it out there and laugh and giggle and say, "How about that? He got 25 looks." 25 idiots out there with pathetic lives just like me. They're watching
Yeah.
videos, but Jeff gets a lot of eyeballs on his, and they're great, Jeff. And I know you're going to keep it up,
Thank you.
and I know you're raising your game every year that you go through this. It's important to you, and folks, you can
Yeah,
tell. I appreciate when somebody tries to put out something that is technically done well, and he takes a lot of pride in doing that. And
well, thank
you'll
you.
like his videos. Um, the It is raining like crazy here in Noodle. I can't believe it. It rained all day or all night last night. We can't take much more rain. I'm up in the bonus room, and it sounds like it's coming through
Right through the roof.
right through the registers of the air conditioner. Um,
Yeah,
um, what's next? I saw the briefcase, the the one that Steve Dotson called the briefcase. That portable
yeah,
grill.
yeah,
That thing is. If you want to see, folks, if you want to see a weird looking smoker grill, go to Jeff's.
yeah.
What's it called, Jeff? The
It's a smoke and go. Smoke and
Smoke and
go.
Go.
It's called a smoke and go. Yeah.
Smoke and Go. This
It
thing.
it was a Kickstarter.
Uh huh.
it was a Kickstarter program, one of those deals. So.
Yeah. Oh, it's clever. I mean, it's clever, and you've got one coming out, or is it out? Is it?
Yeah,
I don't. The
I got a
pizza
new
oven is it? And it's
pizza
out.
oven out.
I don't want to. I
Yeah,
don't want
it's
to
out.
mess
No,
up
no,
and let the
it's
cat out
called
of
the
the bag.
Cube Stove. It released today. Another Kickstarter program. Fun little cooker. It's a pellet
Mm-hmm.
wood-fired pizza oven. But I'm really impressed with the pellet fire pot, the way it works, and it just holds, man. I mean, I'm putting grain scoops in there, and I was very happy with it. I haven't cooked a pizza on it. That's this weekend's task.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that video's up, and I got the standard videos out there too, obviously. But with my stuff, I'm always trying to make a little bit of humor, and it's all about backyard barbecue fun. It really
It's
is.
fun
So.
when you let those kids get in there and help you too. And
Yeah, I
those
always
like
try to get. I
when
mean,
you
they help me, so I
yeah when
always try to get
you
them.
start yelling at
Rope
them,
them in a little
that's
bit.
hilarious.
Yeah,
That's hilarious.
right,
You
right.
stupid kid, beat it.
Yeah, I got one. Got that.
Oh, well, they're our kids. We can do whatever we want, right?
Right, exactly.
Um, so on your uni, you did some uni videos, and that was kind of
hmm
interesting to me because I've got a real interest in unis right now. Have you
Yeah,
done anything other than a pizza in one? Have you tried a steak or
no,
anything?
I'm going to try steak. My fear is it's going to have to be a pretty thin steak
Mm-hmm.
because that thing, just like the cube stove, they get 900 degrees in there
Yeah.
on that stone, and they get hot fast. So. I think the best luck you would have is actually just to, put it in a grill and then get a sear off from it. But it's too cold to mess with that type of cook right now up here. The testing and kind of take it on a trial run type of deal.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm doing the cooks on that now, I have to, we're making pizza or we're gonna do some par baked crust or there's some things like that I'm working on right now to just it. And I'm not a pizza person. I love pizza. I eat it, but I'm not a pizza cook. But I'm like everybody. I've always made homemade pizza.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've even bought the Chef Boyardee stuff
Yeah.
because the kids love making them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, there's a good friend of mine that is a pizza guru, pizza nerd, pizza snob, whatever you want to call him. And he wrote a book, and he's helped me a lot to learn about the pizza process. And it's more of a task than Ricer making pizza.
I
And I
think
say
I
that in my
think
videos.
I think pizza is big now, and I think it's going to get bigger.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think that's
because
the next. I think it's like barbecue is big, and barbecue is going to stay big. But I think pizza is the next big thing because you hit the nail on the head. It's fun. We did it last
yeah,
Halloween. We'll probably do it again this Halloween. I got out the pizza oven. I've got a wood fired one, and we set
yeah,
up the
yeah,
pizza bar. The neighbors came over. I mean, stuff flying everywhere. Somebody's, rolling. The gals are rolling out the dough. The guys are throwing stuff on it.
right,
They're bringing it to me. I'm sitting there
right.
cooking them, and it is a fun food to manufacture in your garage and in your backyard.
Yeah. Yeah, here's the thing, because I do get the pizza nerds that are just great, and they make beautiful pizzas, and they'll come to my video and say, "Hey, you got to get rid of the rolling pin," and I'm like, "All right, my right hand, I'm missing a tendon in my hand, so that's always hurts.
Hmm.
My left hand is just all beat up, so it's like." I'm not going to sit here and try to become coordinated with rolling dough with my hands. So I'm
Uh,
going to cheat and use a rolling pin. Sorry, But if you come here
yeah,
to learn to roll dough on my channel, you made the wrong decision. I'm just trying to show you how to use a cooker and try to do something new. But you hit it there because backyard pizza is cheap, and people don't realize that. It's really inexpensive to make a 12-inch pizza at home.
oh
Go
yeah,
buy it at the grocery store, you're paying $8,
hmm,
for a good one,
yeah,
and you can make 8 pizzas almost for
hmm.
$8. So I mean, once you start buying some of the ingredients, it's not that expensive,
We sell the
and it's
Matt. We sell the
quality.
Matt Frampton Instant Dough. You just add
Yeah,
water. It makes
yep,
two pizza shells. You cut it in half. Let it sit there for 2 hours. You can
yep,
watch it rise, and that's Jeff. I took earth science, a little chemistry, a little biology. I still
yeah.
don't know how yeast works. It amazes me, but somehow there's a living organism in that thing, and it's doing its thing, and it just always puzzles me. I'm not sure I want to know, but the stuff is great, and it's easy to roll out, and makes great pizzas. And like you say, $7 to make two make crust, and throw a little bit of sauce and some mushrooms and cheese and stuff on there. And man, it is so good, especially when the sides leopard get that leopard thing on it. But that's when you know you've done good. Jeff Rice, thank you so much, Rice. You're the best, man. I appreciate you showing up for work today. I really do.
No problem. There's no sick days with me. So
we'll talk to you soon. All right. Make sure you tune in next Friday night for the Owl's Nest Barbecue Show on WGOW. All right. Thank you so much. Give the family a big hug for me. We appreciate you so much. Take care.
Thank you very much.
All the way from central Wisconsin. I had to look. I haven't. I had to brush up on my geography skills a little bit a couple weeks ago, and I said, I was talking to Jeff, and I said, where does Ricer actually live? And I got out the map, and he's in central Wisconsin. Do you know how farther north his town is than Chicago? It is way, way up there. He's almost in Canada. That's where Wisconsin is. It's already 30 degrees there at night. They're freezing. He was doing videos the other day. He said he was freezing to death. It's outside, 30 degrees already. And here in Chattanooga, we're 74, and people are acting like they're freezing to death. So can you imagine 30 degrees in October? That's just, it's crazy. It's crazy what it goes. Hey, everybody, don't forget, next Thursday, don't come here because we won't be here. We're moving. We're loading up the truck, and we're moving one day to Friday night at 7 o'clock, where you can catch us live right here on Facebook, or you can go to WGOW.com, and you can listen online to The Barbecue Show, and it will be on WGOW Talk Radio 102.3. We will be simulcasting to Facebook. It's going to be a fun time. You'll be able to call in the show. All you'll have to do is call 423-267-1023. Our producer, Joe, will get you on the line. He'll put you on with us, whoever my guest is at the time, and myself, and you can ask barbecue questions. We can all talk about this at one time, especially this time of year, because this is fastly becoming the food time of year. And don't forget, also next Saturday, November the 7th, Smoking Barbecue Day at the Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply and Pro Shop from 11 until 4. We've got 3 barbecue teams there. We'll be doing demonstrations. We have Big Ed Kaler from Ottawa. He'll be doing a live comedy show at 1 o'clock from the garage out back. We'll have chairs set up. It's got a real comfortable setting back there. It's going to be a fun time. We'll have barbecue and beverages, and you know what that means. That equals family fun. So come out to the Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply and Pro Shop, or around here we call it the Midnight Oil Complex. And we'll see you then next Saturday at 11. Next Friday night, right back here for the first ever simulcast of a barbecue show here in the Chattanooga area. I can't wait. You just don't know how fun that is going to be. That is going to be the coolest show that we have ever had. Until then, everybody, as the late, great Edward R. Murrow would always tell his viewers on CBS, good night and good luck.
You're like the cool guy in my phone, just so you know. So.